Hey everyone, I'm Josh Vainey, the head of product for Slim.ai. Slim.ai helps developers build and secure containers faster. We do this by making it easier to know what's inside your containers, reducing the container attack surface, and managing containers across multiple teams and cloud providers or registries. We're here with Matias from PaymentWorks to talk a little bit about the cool stuff our two teams have done together. Matias, would you like to share a little bit about yourself and PaymentWorks?
Hey Josh, thanks for the invite. My name is Matias Elgart. I'm the VP of Platform Engineering for PaymentWorks. PaymentWorks is a digital onboarding platform that helps reduce the risk of business payments fraud. We help our customers ensure regulatory compliance, and we help reduce the cost inherent in onboarding hundreds of thousands of vendors. I am currently in charge of core platform services, infrastructure, and DevOps teams, and I'm also an engineering manager for one of our three engineering teams.
Awesome, thank you. So we started working with PaymentWorks as a design partner last year. In that time, we've collaborated to add a lot of great capabilities to the Slim platform and hopefully help your team quite a bit as well. In our initial focus with to help your team was to make the transition from your monolith to having more containerized services running in production. Matias, can you share a little bit about the features you use from the Slim platform and what impact they've had for your team?
Sure. Yeah. So at the time, we had this large monolith, and we started popping out different services. But one of the engineering teams that worked on that project didn't have a lot of experience with containers and orchestration. So we worked with a Slim team to essentially build a new design pattern for how we build and deploy containerized services into production. And so one of the very first features that we used was the collections feature. We essentially used it to model how all the different containers within a service would be tagged and orchestrated throughout the build pipeline through different environments and into production. And then engineers also found very useful the ability to analyze specific images as they were building new images to help them understand, essentially what files are going into images. So from there, we spent, first say 3 weeks developing this kind of new pattern for the first service, and then for subsequent services, we reused that same pattern for container and service orchestration. So really reduce the amount of time we needed to stand up new services, which is exactly what you want.
Hey, now with this great opportunity to bring some of what Slim offers directly to the Docker desktop, we love to dive into our Slim Docker extension and some of its capabilities. So let me show that off to everyone really quickly. So here we see the Slim Docker extension. And if you want to add it, you can add it here by going to the extensions marketplace and checking out Slim.ai. So once I've installed the Docker extension, what I see here is a list of all of my images that are on my local machine, including all of the tags that are available. So we talked a little bit before about kind of diving deep and understanding our images a little bit better. So let me show you how you can do that with our extension. So this is a Nux demo application that we use a lot at Slim.ai. And I want to show you a little bit of information, how we can help developers secure and optimize their images with this extension. So we can see here, for example, from a security standpoint, this is good news. Our user is running his node, not his root. That's pretty awesome. We can see the ports available and a bunch of other metadata to help developers look for optimization opportunities. Like here are some duplicate files that we might be able to take a look at and remove. Additionally, we see the shells that are available. So now you know how you can access the image. A bunch of files with special permissions, which are things that we might want to look at when we're looking to secure this image a little bit better. The certs, labels, environment variables, and more are kind of listed here. Additionally, we have our file explorer. So this is a layer by layer breakdown and instruction by instruction breakdown of of the complete construction of this image. So for example, we can do things like check out where our application the startup where our application runs from. So here we know that's in the app folder, and we can see, well, that's obvious. It's got 215 megabytes, and dive into each of the files. So here's a README. Let's take a look at that really quick. We can view the full file contents. Because this is a text-based file, we can actually view the full file contents of this README. And this one happens to have instructions for how to optimize an image. And additionally, so along this, we can go layer by layer, and we can also do some other interesting things. So let's take a look at another image really quick. And let's, kind of classically, a lot of folks ask, hey, what's the difference between latest and that Slim image that I see in that repo. So let's take a look at that really quickly. So with another image. So here we're comparing, we're actually diffing a latest image to a Slim image. And we can see that same file explorer, except for now we've highlighted all the files that have been removed between the latest and the Slim image here. We can also see some image metadata, and included in that are the difference in the uncompressed size. So the original image was 895 megabytes, and the new image is 48 megabytes.
That's great.
Yeah. So, and you can dive in a lot deeper on this as you move forward. So that was a really quick run through. Matias, I would love to hear, like, I know you got a chance to use the Slim Docker extension. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience?
Yeah, so I just installed the new Docker Desktop Slim extension the other day, and I had an immediate use case for it. We're adding the ability for one of our web images to be used during UI testing. So we're adding a bunch of frameworks and libraries needed for that. And Selenium, the framework, just chews up so much space, and I had no idea where all that space was going. My image was already huge. It was like a gig plus, and it went up to 2.2 gig, and I just had no idea. So let me show you what I saw once I set it up. So here you can see my screen, okay?
Yeah.
So here's my image, this monolith web Selenium, and just looking at it, it's 2.2 gig uncompressed, which is huge. And I can see a bunch of duplicate files and file wastage. But for me, the key feature here was the file explorer, being able to look at all the different layers. And what's cool here, I just noticed during your demo is this extension actually says what layers added files to which directory. But for us, the layer that added all the extra Selenium tooling was layer 9. So I had to go look in this layer and figure out what I added, 750 megs worth of files. And so under opt, we install the Chrome driver, which is the Selenium headless web driver, plus Google Chrome, which is huge. I'm not sure we really need that. And then under var is the other 230 meg. Using this extension, I was able to see where we're dumping, a bunch of yum cache data that I probably don't need, and I can actually get rid of it in our orchestration scripts that build these images. So just on day one, I was able to look at this and realize, wow, I'm doing silly things with the number of files that I'm adding here. But I think longer term, this is going to be really useful in debugging or really shrinking the iteration time needed to build new images. Like in order for me to find that out without this extension, I would have to run a new instance of the image as a container, and then start looking into the different files that I've added without the ability to see it layer per layer, and then use the usual Unix tools to figure out file sizes and stuff like that. So I feel like layer by layer, I can really see what's going on and just shrink the iteration cycle for creating new images, which is, while we're decomposing our monolith, that's the majority of our time is spent essentially standing up new services, new images, and trying to optimize those.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad you found the extension useful. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been great, especially the diff view. I mean, the diff view is like exactly the kind of view that we would see looking at a PR diff on GitHub, for example. So it's already like developer friendly.
Awesome. So I know that moving forward, I just happen to know that you're hiring a lot. You're adding a lot of new engineers on your team. Can you maybe give us a sneak peek in how you think your team might be able to use this as individuals?
Yeah, so we're hiring very quickly, and we have a mixture of full-time employees and contractors that we're onboarding. And so onboarding for us suddenly became a new kind of hotspot for us. We needed new engineers that had that didn't really have like the longer ramp up curve that a full-time engineer would have to just jump in and suddenly start using our services and understand what's going on. So onboarding, using these kinds of tools that Slim.ai is putting out is really useful for us. especially if these new contractors are going to be creating new images and new containers or containerized services. I'm sorry. They need the ability to have tools that kind of shrink that timeline for them. So just for them to be able to understand what's in a given image really helps them gives them much better, faster context into what they need to add or remove, and just debugging that process. So that, and as we hire more teams, we'll be able to ideally we'll be able to have a bunch of optimized images over time instead of the huge images that we currently have.
Awesome, man. Thank you. Glad we could help. Our plan is to bring a lot of the capabilities of the Slim developer platform directly to the our Docker desktop extension. Things like the collections that Matias mentioned earlier, as well as the ability to search for images across multiple registries and analyze them before you pull them down, so you can see whether you can actually determine their fitness for your need before you go through the hassle of pulling the images down and taking a look at them locally. So additionally, we're going to be iterating on this, and adding a lot of things to our roadmap, and every developer's feedback is really important to us. So I ask, hey, if you think this is interesting, please install the extension and let us know what you think and what would be helpful for you. You can follow us on Twitter at Slim DevOps, and check us out at Slim.ai to take a look at the product and learn a little bit more about what we're up to. Matias, you want to close out with something about PaymentWorks?
Yes, please. Yeah, we're hiring a lot of engineers and we're growing very quickly. So if you want to look at jobs, you can go to paymentworks.com and look at the hiring page for us. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.